You don't always have to do in order to be in God's presence. Have the will, have the willingness, have the heart posture, and just sit and be. If you decide to sit for 45 minutes to an hour of just in silence, allowing yourself to take it in, you know, just take in everything, observe, take in. I genuinely think that's a part of spending time God with God. I don't know. This is all his creation, so because especially if your heart posture is set up intentionally, like if your true goal is to spend time with God and not just, worry about the next thing, worry, anxiety, fear, whatever, or you just your mind's full of negativity or low vibration thoughts. That's a little different thing, but sitting in a state of just neutralness, welcoming your heart for all that God has to offer, exploring. I think that is a part of spending time with God, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of answers, a lot of interesting clues and answers have been arising in these moments, and it just feels good. You don't always have to do in order to be in God's presence. Have the will, have the willingness, have the heart posture, and just sit and be. You know, there is, in this movie Dune with Timothy Chalamet, his father says to him, because basically his father's like, you're next to be, you're royal, so you're next up for my spot. And the son is like contemplating. He doesn't really know if he wants to do that or not. He's going back and forth, but he tells his dad that. He's like, what if I don't really want to? And then his dad said, well, even if you don't, you'll still be always what always needed you to be. And that's my son. And I think that's very powerful. I think that's powerful because God is a father. And so as his children, we often feel like in order to earn his title, we have to always be actively trying to be, always trying to work towards the title of being his child. But that statement he made just shows us that the title was already there. We are. At the end of the day, I am still God's son, God's child. And while I would like to be favored by him, or I would like to please him, or I would like to strive to do things to further his plans and his will, at the end of the day, even it's okay to have that stillness from time to time, and still know that you're worth being called his child, and not because you performed and now you deserve to be considered his child. And I want to clarify, because I understand. I believe that our main thing that's wrong with us is just misunderstanding. So I don't misunderstand me when I say there's nothing you need to do to, as a child of God, there's nothing you need to do. You're automatically you're good. You're a child of God. Now, I think that you are a child of God. You're God's child no matter what. But you act accordingly. There's still some type of, let's bring it down to human terms. If you have your parents now, if your father and mother always taught you not to curse, there's nothing you can do to not be their child. There's nothing by just lineage, like that's your father and your mother. But if you go outside of that household and you act a fool and you run amok and you are cussing and you're doing all the things that your mother and father never taught you to be, or never, instilled into you, others will now question if you are this can't be such and such in them's child. Or if they don't question your birthright, they might question not your parents. And so the idea is that you don't want to deter people from the Father, because the Father, he's a father to all, you know? And if you're running around, and you are using God as your last name, as his child, it's best to represent him well, because our goal as his children is to bring others into realization that they are his children as well, and that there's a home for them, that he wants them, that they should turn to him, they should leave the world behind and come to him, get in alignment with him, you know? And so if you are misrepresenting what it means to be a child of the Most High, then it could cause problems, and that's just not what we want, you know? So I think that when I say there's nothing for you to do, there is alignment for sure, but when it comes to your personal time with God, you don't always have to perform. Just be. Because whether you perform, whether you're just peaceful, or whether you perform or whether you just be, you would still always be his child. And that's everything. It's the only thing he's ever wanted you to be.